Well, good morning. I'd like to say please be seated, but most people are. That's always been a very nice way to start the sermon. Please be seated. I don't know if you've ever had a good dream, a beautiful dream, and were sad that you woke up. Have you ever tried to reinsert yourself in a dream that was so beautiful? Dreams can come true. One of the most beautiful lines in all of opera is from the first act of La Bohème, when Rodolfo sees Mimi for the first time and says, "O suave fanciullo, you are the dream I always dreamed I dream." That's a great line for St. Valentine's Day. You are the dream I always dreamed I'd dream. We see a vision. It fulfills phrases like on the mountaintop or a mountaintop experience. We don't know what it is. We weren't there. The details are vague. I've been at one or two what I would call transfigurations. They happened on very ordinary days, unexpected. One related to my son. He was 10 years old and he built a rocket. He wasn't in any group, it wasn't any activity that was sponsored, he just did it. It was made of hard cardboard and wood. It was 4 feet tall. It had a motor, somehow powered by a battery. It had a cone on the top that was hard plastic, and in it was a parachute. It had 4 fins on the main body to guide it through its journey, and 4 fins on the bottom near the engine to stabilize it. He planned to launch it on a Sunday at the local high school at the 50-yard line. The athletic director of the school was in my parish, and so he said, "Come on." So we did. There was a small group of people there. It got my anxiety very high because I hoped and prayed that he wasn't going to be disappointed, that it was going to be a dud. He told me the only apprehension he had was he wasn't quite sure the motor would fire. I was very nervous, and I prayed. I said, "Dear Lord, I don't ask for much. I never have. But all I want is this thing to go. How about 300 feet? That's a football field, at least that." Well, it came and it went. How far and high must something 4 feet go before it is almost a dot? My apprehension was sky high because it was beginning to leave the course and go over to the right. Where is it going to fall? And then the cap came off, I kid you not, and a parachute floated this cone away. The rocket body fell 3 neighborhoods over. Mary Porter screamed out, "We got to get in the car and find it. We had to get in the car and find it." And everybody ran but me. I stopped and looked at him. And he was radiant. And I heard a voice, not here, here. And the voice said, "This is your son. He's my beloved. Love him." And I have. We found the rocket. I have it home. I have kept it through 4 moves. Why? Let us build booths here. We have to have something to remember what happened. And so it has two of the fins long gone. This is 32 years ago. Two of the fins are gone in DeKalb County. Two of the lower stabilizing fins are gone in DeKalb County, but we have the body. And the cone with the parachute, I kid you not, drifted down 85 to North Druid Hills Road and then went toward Emory and landed in a woman's yard as she was gardening. This thing floated down. But he had put his name and address inside the cone, and being a good trooper, she sent it to us. I've never forgotten a minute of it. Now, the gospel text comes as Epiphany and Christmas close. Gone is the memory of the drive-in Christmas Eve with the cars decked with lights and greenery. Hopefully, as lovely as that was, that won't be repeated. We may be in the nave in a year. But we turn and look down a road that rises. And it rises to a moment of transfiguration that we call Good Friday. When, as Jesus dies on the cross, the church prays, "Let the world see and know that things which have fallen down are being raised up, and things which have grown old are being made new." As we stand on the threshold of this road, we go through the liturgy of Ash Wednesday, which is in 2 days. And we are told what keeps us from seeing. It's clear. We have not loved you with our whole heart and soul. We have not loved our neighbors as we've loved ourselves. We have not forgiven others as we have been forgiven. We confess our unfaithfulness, our pride, our hypocrisy, our intemperate use of others, our frustrations at our own failures, our contempt for the grace we see in others, and our blindness to other people's needs. That's the baggage we will carry on our walk if we choose to see the vision. Now, our beloved organist and choirmaster sends the hymns to the preacher during the week. And the hymn we just sang is Charles Wesley. Do you have any idea how many hymns Charles Wesley wrote? Are you sitting down? He wrote 6,500 hymns. And only 25 of them are ever used in worship. That's a bad return on your effort. Visit thou the soul of mine, pierce the gloom of sin and grief. Fill me, radiance divine. Scatter thou my unbelief. It is a prayer to see. Unfortunately, there's gloom. I don't know why there's gloom. I guess gloom is the fact that we haven't loved as we've been taught to love. We haven't forgiven as we've been forgiven. We have had pride and hypocrisy and intemperance and all of that. I guess that's the gloom that overshadows them and prevents them from seeing. I've had a little gloom in my life. We all do. We can't walk the walk without gloom. 32 years ago, happily, 32 years ago, I was in a mental hospital for addictive disease for 4.5 months. That's a gloomy thing. And I've never forgotten a word of it. I've never forgotten a moment of it, and I've never forgotten the people that walked me through it. And one worked in the dining room of the Ridgeview Institute. One worked in the dining room. She worked from 6 in the morning until 8 at night, every day except Sunday. And she loved me. She called me Mr. John. Her name was Isabella. That's all I knew. She was funny, she was jovial. She would often have coffee in between the afternoon and the night meal, and I would go in there and sit with her, and she told me about her boy. That's all she kept saying. I have a boy. I have a boy. He's a good boy. You should meet him. I said, well, I'd love to meet him. Well, how about next Friday? Oh, I said, that's great. I'd love to see him. What's happening? He's getting his certificate in data processing. He's in technical school. I said, okay. And I had a doctor friend with me whose son was born without arms. And he fell into this gloom and ended up in a hospital. And she looked at him and said, will you come? He said, I wouldn't miss it for the world. Well, until I found out that Dances with Wolves was just being released and it was going to be at the mall. On what day was everybody going? They were going on the day I committed to go to this thing. But I went. We thought we'd sit in the back row. That way we could just wave to her and leave. But oh no, she saw us and she had saved 2 seats. And they did the graduation, no caps and gowns, but suits and dresses. These are the people we praise during COVID. These are the people who do the frontline work. These are the people that hold up the buildings and keep everything working. And the heroes and the heroines who don't get a lot of notoriety. She said he was special. I didn't know how special. I did see it because they called his name and nothing happened. Nobody came out from the side. And so she popped up and went in behind a curtain, and then finally the curtain was opened. And he came out in this steel body brace with 2 long crutches. That's why he was special. And he began to move these things across the stage, and people began to rise up and clap. And when he heard the clapping, he stopped halfway between the curtain and the presenter. And he turned and he looked at us and he went, and I looked at Bernard, a doctor, and he had his hands on his head, and he turned to me and tears were streaming down his face, and he said these words, I want to be like that guy. Transfiguration is not interior decorating. It is restructuring. It is removal. It is casting away and building anew. Ash Wednesday, it's a good day. By the way, it marks about a year of our COVID lockdown. It will be a very good day to leave the baggage behind. I'm sure going to try. Amen.